And good evening, everybody. It's Tuesday night, 7 p.m., and this is the last Tuesday night I'll be coming to you this year. The next time on a Tuesday night, it'll be. No, I'm wrong. Or am I right? No, this is the last Tuesday. Hopefully, I'm just kind of killing time while everybody's coming on. Yes, this is the last Tuesday before the end of the year. Wow, time flies. Oh, man. So as people start to come on, remember you need to share. Please share that we're on Facebook Live right now, and if you don't have anything else to do, I would love for you to sit down, just listen to some scriptures and some thoughts that I have for tonight. Let's see, a couple more people coming on. It's great to see you. It's been a challenging week to say the least. It definitely feels like winter up here in Northeast PA. Kind of, because last week we had a whole bunch of snow, I mean a lot, and then it rained a lot. Almost had some major flooding up here, but it wasn't too bad. It just starts to get crazy around here, but now it's cold and windy. It's all part of being in the Northeast. Anyway, Dr. Peg will be coming tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And there'll be no Facebook Live on Friday night because guess what? That's New Year's Day. This Sunday at 10:45, Facebook Live, Pastor Tim will be speaking on the Gatekeepers Part 2. I'm sure you're going to totally enjoy it. And don't forget, if you do have the end of the year giving, feel free to go to our box, what do you call it, our webpage. Go to our webpage and you can donate through there, and it'll go instantly into the account. I believe if you send a check right away, maybe it'll get to us in a day or two before the end of the year. Otherwise, we appreciate all your giving, whether it's this year or next. You can just send your checks to 11 Climas Road, Montrose, PA 18801. Climas is spelled capital Klimas, or like I said, you can go to elishashome.com and you can hit the donate button. So anyway, again, it's great to see all of you this evening. It's today has been, the last 2 days has been crazy up here. Our internet has been off and on, especially when we need it the most. I pray that it stays on tonight, and we won't have any problems. I just sat down this morning to do the sermon, and it was funny because I thought of the song from Toy Story. You know, You've Got a Friend in Me. I thought of that. And then, of course, here in Montrose, we actually have a shelter for animals called, I believe it's True Friends. But the name of tonight's sermon is True Friends. And just more and more, you know, I believe during times of troubles, you find out who your real friends are and people that stick with you through thick and thin. So let me get started with today's message. It's been said that true friendship is one of the sweetest things in life. Friends are chosen family, and I like that statement. Friends are chosen family. See, a lot of us, and I'm blessed to have a great family, but I mean, some people have not such great families. Let's see, friends are chosen family. They cheer us on through discouraging seasons, celebrate with us on joyous occasions, and lift our head and heart like no one else can. Life's special moments are made brighter by the presence of dearest friends. Whether you're looking for advice or strengthening your current friendship, or simply seeking guidance for developing new ones, the Bible offers life-changing wisdom surrounding the topics of prayer for a friend. And I mean, there's all kinds of scripture that talks about what a real friend is all about. And I'm going to talk about that tonight. It teaches us to carry each other's burdens through challenging situations. Always choose love and patience, even when faced with adversity, and to treat others how we hope they'd be treated. So it's interesting, you know, do unto others as they do unto you. Interesting. Or do unto others as you would want them to do unto you. That's a better way of putting it. I noticed a few more people coming on there. Hi, Carl. Hello, Don. Great to see all of you. So as I continue on, again, I'm talking about what real friendship is all about. I love this quote that I found earlier today. Helping one person might not change the world, but it could. But it could the world for that one person. Now think about that. I heard somebody, I was watching a movie yesterday, I think it was, and this gentleman, he was a very well put together man, sophisticated, and he's talking to this young girl at like a diner, and just in passing, because he always comes there for dinner, and she always comes there for dinner, and they always set apart and everything, and one day she came up and she said, I want to be a singer, but and he goes, well, you can be whatever you want to be, and she goes, well, not in my world, and he goes, well, change your world. And I thought, there's a lot of wisdom in that. Galatians 6:2 says, carry one another's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the requirements of the law of Christ, that is, the law of Christian love. Robert C. Morgan tells this really interesting story labeled Making Coffee. And I like illustrations, I like stories. This was simple, but it really shows you who a true friend is. Mr. Sam Rayburn was Speaker of the United States House of Representatives longer than any other man in history. There's a story about him that reveals the kind of man he really was. The teenage daughter of a friend of his died suddenly one night. Early the next morning, the man heard a knock on the door, and when he opened it, there was Mr. Rayburn standing outside. The speaker said, Jay, just came by to see what I could do to help. The father replied in his deep grief, I don't think there's anything you can do, Mr. Speaker. We are making all the arrangements. Well, Mr. Rayburn said, have you had your coffee this morning? The man replied that they had not taken time even for breakfast. So Mr. Rayburn said that he could at least make coffee for them. When he was working in the kitchen, the man came in and said, Mr. Speaker, I thought you were supposed to have breakfast at the White House this morning. Well, I was, Mr. Rayburn said, but I called the president and I told him I had a friend who was in trouble and I couldn't come. See, that's a true friend. John 15:12 in the Passion Bible. I love this one. 15:12 to 15, I believe, says, so this is my command, love each other deeply as much as I have loved you. For the greatest love of all is a love that sacrifices all. And this great love is demonstrated when a person sacrifices his life for his friend. You show that you are my intimate friends when you obey all the commands I command you. I have never called you servants because a master doesn't confide in his servants. And servants don't always understand what the master is doing. But I call you the most intimate friend, for I reveal to you everything that I have heard from my Father. Isn't that beautiful? Ecclesiastes, some of you only know Ecclesiastes 3, but Ecclesiastes 4, verses 9 through 12 in the NIV says, two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them fall down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Of course, they're talking about friends. Also, if two lie down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. So it talks about the bonding of friends and how important it is. I love Ecclesiastes. The Lord challenged his disciples in Luke 6:31. It's a great way to make friends. Verse 31, very simple. We've all heard it. Do to others as you would have them do to you. No, not do unto others as you would do to them. It's do unto others as you would have them do to you. I spoke to a man this morning and he said he could only count his close friends on one hand. Is that so bad? Proverbs 18:24 challenges you and I. The man of too many friends chosen indiscriminately will be broken in pieces and come to ruin. But there is true loving friend who is reliable and sticks closer than a brother. Now, a true loving friend is somebody who sticks closer than a brother. Proverbs 18:24 actually is talking, the Hebrew word used here can be translated joined together, where it says, or closer or sticks together. can be joined together, stick close, or cleave, to pursue or to overtake. That's how close a friend is. Paul challenged the people in Colossians concerning walking their faith out as true friends. In Colossians 3:12, it says, "So, as God's own chosen people who are holy, set apart and sanctified for his purpose, and well beloved by God himself, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, and humility." I believe this is describing a real friend. A heart of compassion, kindness, and humility, gentleness, and patience, which has the power to endure whatever injustice or unpleasant comes with good temper, bearing graciously with one another. You see that? Bearing graciously with one another, and willingly forgiving each other if one has a cause for complaint against another. Just as the Lord has forgiven you, so you should forgive. Beyond all these things, put on and wrap yourself in unselfish love, which is the perfect bond of unity. For everything is bound together in agreement with each one when each one seeks the best for others. Do you seek the best for others, or do you seek the best for yourself? That's a hard one, isn't it? Of course, we need to use discernment, when we have or looking for friends. Proverbs 16:28 says, "A twisted person spreads rumors. A whispering gossip ruins good friendship." So if you have a friend who's always spreading rumors and gossiping, maybe not a good friend. Maybe not somebody you want to share your intimate details, like the scripture beyond, in Colossians it talked about. Proverbs 27:5 through 6, it says, in the Passion Bible, it says, "It's better to be corrected openly if it stems from hidden love. You can trust a friend who wounds you with his honesty, but your enemy's pretend flattery comes from insincerity." So there's times a good friend will, in a nice way, sometimes not always a nice way, but they'll put you in your place when you're doing something wrong. And if you really are that friend and they're your friend, you'll respect what they're going to say, and you'll really sit there and contemplate it. I mean, if a good friend came up to me and said, "Hey, you're really blowing it here," instead of getting angry with them and defensive, I think it'd be time for me to reevaluate something in my life. How about you? Proverbs 12:26 in the Passion said, "Lovers of God give good advice to their friends, but the counsel of the wicked will lead them astray." So if you're a godly man or woman, hopefully you will give good advice to your friends. You won't give wicked advice that will cause them to stumble and to fall. Stuart R. Strockman Jr. stated in his book, you are who you surround yourself with. You are who you surround yourself with." Now think about that for just a moment. Now this is what he says. Context matters. According to the Terman study, which followed 1,000 study participants from childhood until their death, the people we surround ourselves with are who we become. We see those around us slacking off, we become less motivated. When we see people performing selfless acts, we become selfless. Who you surround yourself with, especially at an early age, is likely to make a significant impact on the person you ultimately become. So I think you really need to think about that. If you say you're born again, you love the Lord, and you're getting out of drugs or alcohol or whatever you're dealing with, and you continue to hang out with the same kind of people, same kind of friends, I guarantee you're not going to stay in the faith that long. But instead, if you start seeking out other Christians, people that are strong, people that can sit and talk with you, man, it'll change your life. That's where at the beginning I said, change your world if it's not a godly world. Proverbs 13:20 says, "If you want to grow in wisdom, spend time with the wise. Walk with the wicked, and you'll eventually become just like them." So if you want to grow in wisdom, hang out with somebody that knows what they're talking about. I'll tell you what, I glean more from, I like to work with wood. I love talking to people who work with wood. When I go to a craft show, I look and see what they do. I ask them what they think about this or that, and it's reciprocal. They say back and forth. So, you should hang out with the people that you really enjoy to hang out with, that will build you up and help you become a better person, not tear you down. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Boy, this is, I've known this verse probably for over 30 some years, because when I was a high school teacher, I would try to come up with things that would interest, and I was a Bible teacher, to try to interest the kids. And I said, the group Bad Company is in the Bible. And they say, what? I said, yep. 1 Corinthians 15:33 says, do not be deceived. Bad company corrupts good morals. They didn't like that too much. But it's true that people you hang out with will corrupt your morals. And I know so many people say, well, you know what? I'm going to date that person, even though I know he or she is a sinner. They do drugs. But I think I can change him. You're not going to change him. It's best to walk away from that. I mean, you could pray for them, but don't sit there and marry him or date him thinking you're going to change them. They are going to change you. I guarantee it. Proverbs 19:20 says, listen to counsel, receive instruction, and accept correction, that you may be wise in the time to come. And somebody once told me, he said, Rob, you need to be teachable. Meaning you need to receive godly wisdom. A lot of people will get godly wisdom, but they don't receive it because they don't follow it. I've had so many people, well, what do you think about this, Pastor Rob? And I'll explain to them this, and this. I'll say, I know what happens in this situation. I've seen it over and over again. And what do? They don't follow the counsel that I give. The next thing I know, they're back into their old ways. So it's so important for you to be able to receive. Be careful to be the type of friend you want someone else to be. I know, it sounds kind of crazy. Be careful to be the type of friend you would want someone else to be. Philippians 2:3, the Passion Bible. It says, be free from pride-filled opinions. That's so hard, especially for the men. Be free from pride-filled opinions, for they will only harm your cherished unity. Don't allow self-promotion to hide in your hearts, but in authentic humility put others first and view others as more important than yourselves. That's kind of hard, I know, but view others as more important than yourselves. Luke 16:9 says, and I tell you, learn from this. Make friends for yourselves for eternity, by means of the wealth of righteousness, that is, use material resources as a way to further the work of God, so that when it runs out, they will welcome you into eternal dwellings. So what they're basically saying is, you and I need to use the wealth of righteousness that we receive because of Christ, and we also need to use whatever God gives us, whether it's financial or spiritual, to bless other people up until the day we die and go to heaven, or until the rapture. And then, if the people that we minister to, if they go before us, praise the Lord, because they will welcome us there. Remember, Dr. Wood said when he died and went to heaven that his best friend that had died, probably a couple years beforehand, greeted him in heaven and showed him around. I mean, to me, that's pretty cool. A true friend illustration, an excerpt from John Maxwell and Dan Rellin's The Treasure of a Friend. It's called Friends in a Peace and Peace in War. So friends in peace and in war. And I mean, it's a great illustration. It's hard, but it's true. This is what a real friend is all about. Though Jim was just a little older than Philip and often assumed the role of a leader, they did everything together. They even went to high school and college together. After college, they decided to join the Marines. By a unique series of circumstances, they were sent to Germany together, where they fought side by side in one of history's ugliest wars. One sweltering day during a fierce battle, amid heavy gunfire, bombing, and close-quarter combat, they were given the command to retreat. As the men were running back, Jim noticed that Philip had not returned with the others. So panic gripped his heart. Jim knew if Philip was not back in another minute or two, that he wouldn't make it. Jim begged his commanding officer to let him go after his friend, but the officers forbid it. He forbid the request, saying it would be suicide, risking your own life. Jim disobeyed, though, and went for Philip. His heart pounding, he ran into gunfire, calling out for Philip. A short time later, his platoon saw him hobbling across the field, carrying a limp body in his arms. Jim's commanding officer upbraided him, shouting that it was a foolish waste of time and an outrageous risk. Your friend is dead, he added, and there was nothing you could do. No, sir, you're wrong, Jim replied. I got there just in time. Before he died, his last words were, I knew you would come. Wow. He trusted his friend that much. That's pretty neat. We all need a friend to help us keep sharp. Help us keep on the godly edge, not the worldly edge. Proverbs 27:17, one of my favorite scriptures. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens and influences another through discussion. And that's so true. Iron sharpens iron. Being a true friend when no one else would, Stuart Strachan Jr., December 18th of 2018, shares an unexpected friendship. And it's interesting. I heard a little bit about this, and I want to leave you with the following article, or newsworthy article, if you want to call it. And really interesting how somebody can befriend or forgive a person for what they've done. This is a true story, and in a moment you'll know who I'm talking about. Sometimes moments of forgiveness and friendship come from unexpected places. In 2018, the comedian Pete Davidson appeared on the Weekend Update segment of Saturday Night Live. Davidson made a crude joke about former Navy SEAL turned Congressman-elect Dan Crenshaw. Crenshaw had lost an eye in the line of duty, which became the butt of Davidson's vulgar joke. The combination of mocking a person's disability, especially a disability that came from serving his country in war, alongside a clear disapproval of Crenshaw's political beliefs, led to a burst of political outrage. While Davidson was making the joke, it became clear many found it to be in poor taste. And the vitriol aimed at the young comedian would ultimately lead him down a spiral of depression and self-loathing. So he really got nailed for what he said. Davidson then took his anguish public, posting on the social media platform Instagram. I really don't want to be on this earth anymore. I'm doing my best to stay here for you, but I actually don't know how much longer I can last. All I've ever tried to do was help people. Just remember I told you so. When Crenshaw, or Congressman Crenshaw, heard about Davidson's condition, he didn't do what many do when embroiled in public tiff. Tell the offender the public scorn served him right, or make some other cutting comment at Davidson's expense. Instead, Crenshaw decided to extend an olive branch, befriending the comedian and even offering words of life to a person who clearly felt lost amid being stuck in the crosshairs of American public. Davidson recounts that Crenshaw reached out and comforted him. God put you here for a reason. It's your job to find that purpose. This is what Crenshaw said to him, and you should live that way. See, humor, it has often been said, is a coping mechanism to deal with pain that life throws at us. But in the midst of the deep, unsettling pain of being publicly shamed, what Davidson needed was not a good joke, but forgiveness and perhaps even a friend who could share the good news of the gospel with him. In some ways, it's ironic that a man trained to kill and destroy his enemies could be moved by compassion, that he reached out to someone who publicly mocked him and his deeply held political beliefs, but that is the beauty of the gospel. It enables us to look beyond our reputation, our own pride, and to care for others. Crenshaw became a true friend. Could you? People publicly mock you? How would you feel? I've been there. I've been mocked many, many times. This message challenged me. Could I still friend somebody who did that? For me, I told this story to my congregation, and I want to end with something that happened to me many, many years ago. And I don't want to bore you, Carl, but it's an interesting story. As a young sixth grader, when I was a lot younger than I am now, a gentleman used to bully me all the time. This one guy bullied me all the time, all through junior high, and then after that, he kind of disappeared. He was just a lone wolf, if you want to call it. The next time I saw him was right after graduation in high school. I saw him in boot camp, and a guy with long hippie hair got his head shaved. And then I didn't see him for 4 more years. I mean, this is a small world, and I got out of the Navy, and I ended up becoming a shipping foreman at this warehouse. Who comes in and gets a job there is this guy that used to bully me. And for so many years I hated him because, I mean, he treated me terrible. And I remember one time during break, and he seemed like a nice guy now. I mean, by the time he was, grown up. But I was sitting across from him, and I looked at him, and I said, "Lenny, I need to tell you something. I need to ask you to forgive me." He goes, "For what?" I said, "Well, man, for years I've hated you." He said, "Well, why have you hated me?" I said, "You used to bully me in 6th grade." He said, "Really? Man, I don't remember that." He goes, "I was high all the time. I just don't remember that. I'm really sorry." And it hit me. I said, this guy didn't even remember it. So all the years of hate and discontent towards somebody that couldn't even remember that he did it. And he even apologized. He said, "Man, I was a real idiot. I was a jerk." And we can't hold on to stuff like that. We need to set the example of what a real friend is all about. So I want to end that today. I know it's a short message. I can't believe I made it through 12 pages of notes, but it's just important to be that friend for somebody. If that means call them on the phone, talk to them for an hour, if that means message them on Messenger or any of the other social medias, calling them on the phone, or even showing up at the house. I know there's one of those commercials where this one guy gets a message from his friend, and instead of returning the message, through the text message, he drives his car all the way across town, his new car, knocks on the door, and he goes, "Man, are you answering my message in person?" He said, "Yeah." So that's a friend. It's just somebody who will go that extra mile for you. How about you? Can you be that friend for somebody? I was, Christmas Eve, I was blessed. I got to be honest with you. I got a message, and then I think I got a phone call. I'm not sure, but I know I got a message and said, "Hey, there's a box on your porch, and it's for you and your wife." I said, "Oh, okay." So I go out there, and oh man, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful Christmas Eve box with all kinds of awesome food, and I'm still eating it. So it's pretty neat. So, sometimes just doing something simple for a friend means so much. So I just want to leave you with that. Are you a true friend? Are you a person that somebody can count on, that you're not going to gossip or spread rumors about them? Are you going to be that person that is there when they feel like they have nobody else? So you take care, and I want you to think about that for the new year. Are you going to be a friend, a true friend? God bless, and have a happy new year. Take care.